Do you want to achieve a goal? Great. Now tell me, are you willing to push yourself to do it, or are you just waiting for a little push from life? Because the truth is harsh. No one is going to come and save you. If you don't learn to push yourself, no one else will do it for you. The difference between winners and complainers is simple. Some force themselves to do what needs to be done, even when they don't feel like it. Others wait to feel like doing something and spend their lives waiting. I'm not here to comfort you. I'm here to provoke you. This video is a direct, practical, and transformative mentoring session. And if you apply what we're going to talk about here, you'll leave this screen with a plan, a new identity, and most importantly, with an inner strength that will never leave you. And if you want more content like this, listen carefully until the end, because this journey has only just begun. The biggest mistake people make is thinking that discipline comes from the sky, that you just need to be inspired to do what has to be done. It doesn't. Discipline is built the same way you build an engine. Piece by piece, repetition by repetition, adjustment by adjustment. When I started my journey, there was no comfort. I woke up early, did hard, repetitive work on the farm, and repaired watches at night to earn a few bucks. I had no motivation. I had a need. And that was the best thing that ever happened to me, because it taught me to do without wanting to execute without inspiration, to act even when tired. That is strength. That is what separates those who achieve from those who only dream. What you need to understand is simple. You don't need to be motivated. You need to be determined. Everyone wants results, but few are willing to pay the price. And the price is the momentary renunciation of emotion in the name of rational execution. When I developed the assembly line, many said it was inhumane to standardize work. But you know what was inhumane? Seeing poor workers with no prospects, living like slaves to chance. Standardizing work was the most efficient way to generate prosperity. That's what gave thousands fair wages, stability, and access to consumption. And that applies to your life. You need to standardize your days, create systems, automate your productivity. When you push yourself, you train your mind to respect your own word. And there's nothing more powerful than that. Trusting yourself because you deliver on your promises. Do you want to win? Then stop negotiating with your own mind. It will sabotage you. It will say, just 5 more minutes, you deserve a rest. It will be too hard. Ignore it. Your brain was made to protect you, not to make you win. It wants to save energy, not fulfill dreams. That's why you need to be the master, not the slave. And for that, there is a method. Visual commitment. Write your goals on a piece of paper and stick it on your bathroom mirror. Look at it every day and repeat, this will happen because I will make it happen. Simple, practical, and brutally effective. You are creating a mental assembly line. Every day, one small step. Every day, the same pattern. Every day, without exception. Until your subconscious understands. This is the new normal. Most people fail because they seek excitement, not transformation. But I didn't build one of the world's largest industries seeking excitement. I built it with repetition, efficiency, and rationality. I understood that the secret lies in the process, not in inspiration. And that applies to any goal you have. Want to lose weight? Create a meal plan and repeat it. Want to start a business? Set daily tasks and execute them. Want to improve your finances? Control your spending, increase your income, and reinvest. It's simple, but no one said it would be easy. And that's exactly why so few get there. There's a part of you that wants to win. And there's another part that wants comfort. The one you feed wins. You need to be your own factory manager. You are the industry of your life. And the question that won't go away, are you operating efficiently or are you letting everything drift? The answer lies in your daily habits. It's not the big achievements that define a winner. It's the small, consistent habits, applied day after day, year after year. Do you want to push yourself? Then create a system that makes the effort inevitable. I did this with my engineers. If a project wasn't moving forward, I changed the process. I didn't blame people, because the problem is always in the system. And if your system today allows for procrastination, lack of focus, and excuses, it's time to rebuild it. Now pay attention. When you force yourself to follow a plan, even when you don't want to, You are training your most valuable muscle, self-discipline. And the more you train it, the stronger it gets. It's like an engine. At first, it needs extra power to turn. Then it runs on its own. And that's where the magic happens. You push yourself so hard that one day you don't have to push yourself anymore. It becomes automatic. It becomes part of who you are. And then, my friend, no one can stop you. But be careful. Don't confuse rigidity with inflexibility. A well-tuned engine knows when to slow down. You also need to know when to rest. But rest by choice, not out of weakness. Pause strategically. Don't give up out of fear. There's a huge difference between the two. And if you want to achieve any goal, you'll need to master this art, knowing when to speed up and when to adjust. But never stop. Understand? No one is naturally disciplined. Disciplined people are those who understand that acting with willpower is luck. Acting without willpower is a choice. It's a decision. It's strength. And that strength lives within you, waiting to be activated. It doesn't matter how many times you failed. It doesn't matter if no one believes in you. You don't need anyone's permission. You need an internal decision. A decision that says, I'm going, period. Are you waiting for the right moment? It doesn't exist. The moment is now. Because now is the only time you can control. The past is gone. The future is uncertain. But the present is in your hands. And if you learn to master the present, you can conquer any future. It's that simple. If you understand that the present is all you have, then you also need to understand that your future is the sum of your well-spent presence. I have always said, thinking is the hardest work there is. That is probably why so few engage in it. But it is not enough to think. You must think with purpose, efficiency, and practical application. An undisciplined mind is an excuse factory. A trained mind is a results factory. And that difference starts with what you do when no one is looking. That is where you reveal your true pattern. When you force yourself to fulfill what you promised yourself, even when you are tired, even without immediate results, you are building your identity as a winner. Do you want to force yourself to win? Then stop treating yourself like a victim of your environment. You are not a leaf in the wind. You are the wind. You determine the direction. And that direction is built with small but consistent decisions. When I started my first workshop, I had no money, no support, and no infrastructure, but I had clarity of purpose. I knew exactly where I wanted to go, and more importantly, what I was willing to sacrifice to get there. That's strength. Strength is not aggression. Strength is consistency. It's doing what needs to be done every day, while others give up. Do you want to know why so many fail? Because they treat their goals as vague desires. I didn't desire to have an industry. I decided. And when you truly decide, there is no room for internal negotiation. You align your routine with your vision. You eliminate distractions. You sacrifice momentary pleasures. You build. And when you build with discipline, results come, not by luck, but by consequence. Understand, goals are not dreams. Goals are commitments. And commitment is not something that depends on your mood. Commitment is something you fulfill, even in silence, even when you are afraid, even when you are in doubt. Because doubt will come. Pain will come. The urge to quit will scream. But you don't negotiate with weakness. You execute. And it is this repetition of execution that creates transformation. Want a practical example? Take a notebook and write down the same goal every day for 30 days in a row. Every day. Without fail. You will notice something extraordinary. Your mind begins to align. Your thoughts begin to filter new ideas. And your subconscious begins to work in your favor. This is real neuroprogramming. Not magic. Mechanism. Like a gear. If you repeat the right command, the machine starts working automatically. But that only happens if you are disciplined enough to repeat, even when it seems useless. People want rewards, but they are afraid of sacrifice. They forget that every efficient production system was built on initial effort, learning, failures, and corrections. When we implemented the assembly line, it wasn't perfect on the first day. But instead of stopping when we encountered mistakes, we adjusted, we improved, we simplified. And the result was the greatest industrial revolution in history. Not because of genius, but because of persistence. And that's exactly what you need to apply in your life. Create your system of action. Make mistakes quickly, correct them quickly, and keep going. Don't stop, ever. Many people ask, Henry, how did you deal with the fear of failure? And the answer is simple. It wasn't an option. Because fear is just a warning. What you do after the warning is what defines your destiny. I listened to fear, but I didn't obey it. I acknowledged the risk, but I moved forward. Because nothing kills more than analysis paralysis. Action is always superior to hesitation. And all hesitation is born of emotional insecurity. That's why you need to master your emotions. Not deny them, but lead them. Do you want to achieve any goal? Then you need to understand the emotional game. Your emotions will try to bring you down. They will convince you to give up. But you are not an emotional slave. You are an operational leader. And a leader does not feel first. A leader acts first, and then adjusts their feelings. That is how you build resilience. Not with empty mantras, but with concrete actions that reprogram the brain. You force yourself to win when you do it, even when you are afraid, even when you have doubts, even when you are in pain. That is not heroism. That is industry standard. It is repetition. It is consistency. Heroes act once. Workers of excellence act every day. And in the end, it is the workers who build empires, not the heroes. That is why I value work so much. Because work well done transforms the worker. And disciplined workers transform the world. Now, answer me honestly. Is your current routine aligned with your goal? Or is it sabotaging your own goal? Because if you keep doing the same things and expecting different results, you're not dreaming, you're delusional. Real change requires pain. And pain is proof that you're on the right track. Because growing hurts. If it's easy, it's wrong. If it's comfortable, it's a sign of stagnation. Discomfort is the indicator of progress. Learn to love discomfort. It is your ally. It is your growth thermometer. Remember this. You don't have to do everything at once. You just have to do a little more every day than you did yesterday. One more screw. One more brick. One more meter. That's how you build. That's how you get there. Not by magic, but by method. You are a machine. And like any machine, you need maintenance, alignment, and the right fuel. Take care of your body. Feed your mind. Eliminate distractions. And repeat. Every day. Here's a simple technique I used with my engineers when they were lost. Take a piece of paper. Write your biggest goal at the top. And below, list exactly 3 daily actions you need to take to move forward. Not 5, not 10, just 3. 3 daily actions. This creates focus. This creates traction. And traction generates results. Apply this now, not later, not tomorrow. Now. If you apply everything I've said so far, something will happen. You will become a different person. You will become stronger, more precise, more determined. And that, my friend, is priceless. Because when you change, everything around you changes. Your life changes. Your finances change. Your relationships change. Because the world responds to those who execute, not those who just talk. Now listen carefully, because what I'm about to tell you could change everything. The freedom you seek will only come when you become a slave to your own system. Yes, that's right. You only achieve freedom when you submit to a set of rules that you yourself have created, tested, and executed every day. That's exactly what separates an amateur from an achiever. Amateurs act when they feel like it. Achievers act because it is what needs to be done. They have created a routine that pushes them forward. Even on days when everything screams to give up, you don't need more motivation. You need more structure. Motivation is volatile fuel. Structure is a continuous engine. And when that engine is well built, it runs even in a storm. That's what I understood when I started building production systems. I didn't want to depend on the mood of the worker. I wanted to guarantee results, regardless of mood, weather, or luck. And the only way to do that is with a simple, standardized, and foolproof system. The same logic applies to your life. The simpler your plan, the easier it is to repeat. The easier it is to repeat, the easier it is to win. And here's the big secret that no one wants to tell you. Winning isn't about doing extraordinary things. Winning is about doing the basics with surgical precision. It's getting up at the same time. It's following the same morning ritual. It's planning your day with clarity. It's executing 3 main tasks without distraction and repeating them every day. It's this repetition that shapes your mind, your character, and most importantly, your results. The problem is that people find doing the basics boring. But I ask you, do you want excitement or do you want victory? Because the basics work. The basics build empires. The basics are the foundation. And if you understand that, it's time to automate. I've always believed that automation is the purest form of freedom. When you automate your production line, you free people from unnecessary repetition. They can think, innovate, grow. Now apply this to your life. Automate your behaviors. Create fixed patterns for daily actions. Example, same time to wake up. Same process for planning your day. Same ritual for execution. When this becomes routine, you free your mind to think big, to solve bigger problems, to see opportunities that previously went unnoticed. But be careful. Automating is not becoming a robot. It is being a master of your own energy. When you eliminate unnecessary decisions, you save willpower for strategic decisions. For example, I used to wear the same clothes, eat at the same times, and follow the same routes. That's not obsession. That's operational intelligence. The less you think about what doesn't matter, the more energy you have for what really matters. Do you understand what that means? It means you can build a personal system as efficient as a factory. You can become your own assembly line to victory. Wake up, execute, improve, repeat. No excuses. No interruptions. No drama. Just progress. And the more you operate at this level, the more life begins to respect you. Because the universe responds to those who are in motion. Those who deliver. Those who keep their promises. Not those who talk a good game. And here's another uncomfortable truth. You're surrounded by distractions because you allow them to dominate you. Your phone isn't the problem. The problem is your lack of focus. And focus is a decision. It's not a talent, it's a skill. And if you want to train, start now. Put your phone in airplane mode for an hour. Focus on a single task, and don't stop until you're done. You'll feel uncomfortable, anxious. You'll want to check your notifications. Perfect. That's your brain being detoxified. Hang in there. Bye. Repeating this process, you will become uncheckable. You will regain control of your attention. And attention is the most valuable currency in the modern world. Do you want to win? Then protect your attention like you would protect $1 million machine. Because that's what your mind is. A machine capable of producing any result if operated properly. And that brings me to the crucial point. You need to think like a manager, not like a victim. A manager looks at the indicators, analyzes, corrects. A manager doesn't blame time, the boss, or the government. He takes responsibility. He measures. He improves. And that's the attitude you need to adopt towards your life. Grab a notebook now and answer. What are your personal indicators? How much time are you sleeping? How much time are you producing? What is your energy level during the day? How much are you investing in yourself? How much are you spending on distractions? If you don't measure it, you can't control it. And if you can't control it, you can't improve it. It's that simple. Speaking of improvement, here's a principle I still apply. Today, never end the day without improving at least 1%. Is that little? Maybe. But at the end of a year, you'll be 37 times better. That's not magic. It's math. It's life engineering. And engineering requires calculation, analysis, and execution. You need to be the engineer of your own evolution. And every engineer knows no project can stand without a solid foundation. And that foundation is self-discipline applied in small actions repeated every day. Want more clarity? Then start documenting. Write everything down. Your mistakes, your successes, your lessons learned, your goals, your achievements. Because what you document, you expand, you see better, you correct with more precision. I've always had a control notebook. In it were all the tests, adjustments, standards, and production results. And that's what allowed me to grow exponentially. Because you can't manage what you don't measure. And you can't expand what you don't understand. Do you understand the level of responsibility you need to take on? You are the factory. You are the engineer. You are the worker. You are the manager. And if all of this is well aligned, you will also be the owner of the empire, but not before. First, be the worker of your life. The silent worker who repeats, adjusts, improves, and insists. The one who delivers even without applause. Because it is in this silence that giants are born. You already understand that it is possible to build an operationally efficient life. Now it's time to understand why. Why does all this matter? Because in the end, what you really want is not just to achieve goals. You want freedom. Freedom of time, of choice, of creation. But freedom only comes with structure. Freedom is not the opposite of discipline. Freedom is the direct result of well-applied discipline. All real freedom comes from control. And those who do not have control over their own minds, their own time, and their own production will never be free. They will always depend on someone, something, or chance. You see, I built an industrial empire because I understood that true power does not lie in doing everything, but in creating a system that works without me. That is true wealth. Wealth is not ostentation. Wealth is autonomy. It is when your work continues to generate results even when you stop. And to get there, you need to force yourself to build. Yes, force. Because creating something solid, sustainable, and productive requires an inner strength that goes far beyond the average. While most people live reacting, you need to live planning. While they consume, you build. And if you think that's impossible for you, think again. When I started out, I was just a young man in the middle of a farm, with no money, no contacts, nothing but a restless mind and an obsession with efficiency. I wasn't the first to invent the automobile, but I was the first to create a system that made the automobile accessible. That's long-term vision. And that vision starts now, with you forcing yourself to create processes, not excuses, products, not complaints, solutions, not distractions. Do you want to know the biggest mistake people make when they want to get rich? They focus on making money before they focus on building value. Money is a consequence, not a goal. And value is created when you solve problems in a systematic, predictable, and scalable way. That's what I did. I created a system that delivered value with precision, speed, and low cost. That created scale. That created wealth. Now tell me, what are you doing that solves a real problem? Are you doing it consistently? Are you improving every day? Are you standardizing? Are you documenting? If you're not, then you're not building. You're just busy, and this is where leadership comes in. Leading is not commanding. Leading is executing, with such standard and excellence that others naturally follow. It is living the example so strongly that those who observe you understand that you know where you are going. I didn't ask my men to arrive early. I was already there when they arrived. I didn't demand perfection. I taught the process that led to perfection, and I tested that process myself. That's why my leadership was respected. Because it was practical, visible, repeatable. Do you want to lead? Then stop talking. Start executing with mastery. Your children are watching you. Your colleagues are watching you. Your employees are watching you. And they all learn from what you do, not what you say. The best way to teach discipline is by being disciplined. The best way to teach efficiency is by being efficient. The best way to teach how to win is by winning. A little bit of your own weakness every day. Leading is serving. Serving the process. Serving the team. Serving the purpose. And that requires sacrifice. But it also brings the greatest reward. Respect. Not the false respect of those who are afraid, but the real respect of those who admire. And speaking of respect, understand one fundamental thing. You will only be respected externally when you learn to respect yourself internally. And respecting yourself means keeping your promises. It means not betraying yourself. It means doing what you said you would do, even when no one else is looking. That is where true self-esteem lies. It comes from consistency, not from comparison. Because those who live comparing themselves to others waste energy trying to be what they are not. But those who live fulfilling themselves gain strength by being who they have decided to become. Are you building that? Or are you outsourcing your identity to others? Are you waiting for validation? Then listen carefully. The only validation you need is from your own conscience. When you lay your head on your pillow and know that you have performed with excellence, you don't need likes, applause, or medals. You have already won. Because your mind recognizes that you are worthy. And dignity, my friend, is the foundation of true wealth. And now, let's talk about money. Because yes, money matters, not as an end, but as a tool. Money is a lever. The more you have, the more you can produce, build, and help. But money only stays with those who have a system. If you earn more and spend more, you are not prospering. You are just inflating your lifestyle. True prosperity comes when you turn income into assets. When you reinvest in what multiplies. When you have control. So if you want to get rich, start by controlling every penny. Just like I did. Control is power. And here's the hardest truth you'll hear today. If you can't control small money, you'll never master big money. The way you handle $100 reveals exactly how you'll handle $1 million. Because the habit is the same. The value is just a scale. So start now. Document it. Plan. Eliminate unnecessary expenses. Invest in knowledge. And reinvest in productivity. Money is like energy. It must always be flowing, multiplying, serving something greater. And something greater requires purpose. You're not here just to pay bills. You're here to make an impact, to leave something better than you found. I saw my cars as more than machines. I saw them as bridges. Bridges between people and opportunities. Bridges between workers and the freedom to come and go. That is productive purpose. It's not just pretty words. It's applied vision. It's turning your skills into solutions. Your discipline into results. Your company into a legacy. So now tell me, what legacy are you building? Or better yet, are you building something that deserves to be called a legacy? If not, start today with what you have. Where you are. Because the only thing that separates an ordinary worker from an empire builder is the execution mindset. And that mindset starts with a decision. And if you've made it this far in this video, you already know you're ready to make that decision. Now that you understand the structure that underpins any victory, it's time to see beyond the present. Because everything you're doing today is only worthwhile if it's part of a larger system. A system with a long-term vision. Without vision, even efficiency is lost. Without vision, even discipline wears away. You need to know exactly where you want to go. And more than that, you need to know what you're willing to sacrifice to get there. Because the only way to speed up the journey is to eliminate the unnecessary. And anything that doesn't bring you closer to your goal is unnecessary. When I built my first factory, I wasn't just thinking about the present. I already saw hundreds of workers benefiting, affordable products in the hands of the people, and an entire nation driven by a new way of producing. That's thinking like a system. That's thinking like an engineer of reality. And if you really want to win, you need to stop acting like an emotional consumer and start acting like the designer of your own story. Design your life as if you were designing a factory with inputs, outputs, processes, and results. But remember, no system works without emotional control. Uncontrolled emotion is like a loose part in an engine. It destroys everything. That's why you need to practice self-control every day, because life will test you. Failures will happen. Delays, losses, criticism. But if you react emotionally to every unexpected event, you will sabotage the entire system. I learned to see problems as data, simple information. When a part broke in production, I didn't yell or blame anyone. I analyzed it. I understood the cause. I corrected the process. And I kept going. This cool attitude in the face of chaos is what allowed me to move forward while others fell apart. Do you want to achieve any goal? Then learn to become unshakable, not cold, but stable. Emotions are there to signal you, not to command you. Feel the fear, but don't obey it. Feel the anger, but don't react to it. Feel the doubt, but keep going. This is the path to productive maturity. And only those who mature emotionally can lead others. Because no one follows someone who explodes. People follow those who convey firmness. And firmness is not the absence of emotion. It is mastery over it. Now let's talk about scaling, because achieving a goal is good. But building a reality that continues to grow, even without direct presence, is extraordinary. And that only happens with leadership applied at scale. In other words, train other achievers. Multiply your mindset. Replicate your discipline. Transform people into autonomous execution systems. In my factory, I promoted leaders based on behavior, not words. I observed who solved problems, who maintained standards, who improved the process. Those were the ones chosen to lead. Because those who cannot lead themselves cannot lead anyone else. And that applies to any area. Family, business, community. Leadership begins with self-execution. And if you want to lead at scale, you need to create processes that train others with the same foundation. You need to create manuals. You need to teach. You need to set an example and allow others to make mistakes, correct them, and grow. That is productive leadership. It is not control. It is multiplication. It is not domination. It is training. And when done right, it becomes a legacy. But pay attention. Scaling without a foundation is operational suicide. First, you structure, then you multiply. And that structure must be based on simplicity, clarity, and repetition. If it's too complex, it's wrong. If only you understand it's wrong. If it depends on you all the time, it's fragile. The real system is the one that keeps working with or without you. And for that, everything must be documented, tested, and replicated. Don't trust your memory. Trust the process. And speaking of process, here's a technique I've applied my entire life. Every time something worked, I stopped and wrote down what worked, every step, every detail. This became standard. And standard is gold, because standard allows for repetition. And what is repeatable is scalable. Most people fail because they ignore this principle. They do something right once, but they don't know how they did it. So they can't repeat it. And without repetition, there is no consistency. And without consistency, there is no real growth. Keep this in mind. What is not documented is lost. What is documented becomes an asset. And here's another truth that few understand. The real asset is not money. It is knowledge transformed into process. This is worth more than gold, because it can be replicated, taught, and multiplied infinitely. And if you turn your learnings into systems, you will be creating a machine for continuous progress. You will leave the slavery of manual execution and enter the realm of intelligent management. But none of this works if you don't have a greater purpose. A reason that goes beyond profit, beyond recognition, beyond comfort. I used to manufacture cars, but my purpose was greater. To give ordinary workers the same right to come and go as the rich had. To democratize access. To raise the standard of living. To make progress accessible. That is productive purpose. And when you find yours, everything changes. The pain becomes less. Discipline becomes easier. And the results become the consequence of something much greater. You need to find that purpose. It's there, inside you. Maybe dormant. Maybe muffled by distractions and obligations. But it's there. And it will only be activated when you stop living on autopilot and start asking, why am I doing this? For whom? With what impact? The answers to these questions will give you more energy than any motivational video, because nothing is more powerful than a man or woman on a mission, and that mission must be lived every day, not as a distant ideal, but as a constant practice. You wake up, you execute, you improve, and you contribute. And at the end of the day, you look back and know, today I fulfilled my role. Today I was worthy of what I carry. Today I got closer to the future I chose to build. That is fulfillment. That is victory. That is what we are doing here. We have reached the end of this mentoring session, but understand, this was not a video. It was a mental assembly line. Every word, every provocation, every principle I have given you so far has been like a precisely positioned gear to transform your mindset into a productive machine. Now it is up to you to start that engine. Because there is only one thing that separates those who watch from those who achieve. Action. You can leave here and continue as you are. You can continue justifying, blaming, procrastinating, complaining, and nothing will change. Or you can get up, grab a piece of paper, put together your plan, and start now, right now. Because action doesn't wait for motivation. Action generates motivation. And that's the secret that the weak never understand. They want to feel in order to do. The strong do in order to feel. Winners act, even when they are tired, even when they are insecure, even when they are silent. And that is why they win. If you apply the principles you have learned here, you will never be the same again. Because now you know that no excuse can survive discipline. No crisis can withstand a well-run system. No obstacle can stand in the way of a solid and consistent routine. The key is not in the world. It is in you. In your ability to force yourself. To do what needs to be done. Even when no one is watching. Even without immediate results. Even without applause. Do you want to build wealth? Then apply yourself. Do you want leadership? Then execute. Do you want freedom? Then discipline yourself. Because everything you want is on the other side of your resistance. What separates you from the life you dream of is the ability to ignore fatigue, overcome doubt, and keep going. Once, twice, 1,000 times. And keep going. Because life respects those who work harder than they talk. And if you really understand all this, you are already different from most people. Because most people are still looking for motivation. You already understand that it's time to push yourself, and don't think it's over. This is just the beginning. Now you need to create your plan, document your routine, identify the patterns that sabotage your performance, and eliminate them with precision. You need to be the manager of your life, the engineer of your productivity, the leader of your own future. Don't outsource this to anyone. The responsibility is yours. The execution is yours. And the victory will be yours. What you've heard here is more than just content. It's an operational model for transformation. It's applied philosophy. A new way of existing in the world. And if you take it seriously, you'll build something so solid, so productive, so transformative that no failure from the past will ever have power over you again. No doubt will ever paralyze you. No fear will stop you. Because you will be your own source of strength. This is the mindset that builds empires, that changes stories, that elevates generations. It doesn't matter where you started. What matters is what you do now. What matters is that you get up, that you execute, that you insist, because you are the worker of your own revolution, and no one else can operate this machine for you. Now it's your turn. If you've made it this far, show that you're ready to take action. Write in the comments, I will force myself to win. I want to see who will commit to taking action. Share this video with those who need to hear this truth. With those who are still waiting for a push. Be that push. And if you want to receive more content like this, you know what to do, but only if you're going to apply it. Because here, we don't want spectators. We want achievers. Life is too short to live as a spectator of your own destiny. Now go. Execute, build, win, because that is your duty. And everything you need is already inside you.